What an absolutely spectacular and really breathtaking video there of Kakadu National Park, sitting, of course, in the Northern Territory and taking over 20,000 square kilometres of our country, a beautiful World Heritage listed space. But to get into the nitty gritty and to tell us a little bit more about Kakadu National Park, what it feels like to be there and what there is to see and do, I'd like to welcome the Group General Manager for Kakadu Tourism, Chris. Hello, Chris.
Hi, how are you?
I went with the big introduction. I hope you don't mind.
The more formal version, fair enough.
Well, I mean, there's so much to talk about today, and I really love that you've been able to join us because Kakadu National Park is definitely on the must-do list for everybody in Australia and New Zealand. There's no doubt about it. But what I would love to do today is share a little bit more detail on how to get there, what the national park is all about, and what we should expect. So I guess, Chris, where is Kakadu National Park?
Kakadu National Park, once you arrive in Darwin, it's a 3-hour drive out into the park and into Arnhem Land, and it's on a fully sealed road.
Well, that's good news. That sounds nice and comfortable. But certainly when you get out there, you get to enjoy all this stunning, rustic and very rugged looking countryside. I read that it takes in 20,000 square kilometres of space. Is that right?
Yes, it is. So it's actually half the size of Switzerland, and it's home to more than 10,000 crocodiles. So that's one crocodile for every 2 square kilometres. So you're guaranteed to see a few, what we call out here in our local Aboriginal language, gingers.
Well, I think we certainly do come to Kakadu National Park to see the crocodiles, but I have to tell you, I didn't quite expect as many as what you've just mentioned, but it's exciting.
Yeah, it's a stunning place.
It sounds incredible. But I guess just on that note, Chris, what should guests expect when they come into Kakadu National Park?
Well, I mean, from a cultural perspective, you'd be visiting the oldest continual living culture on Earth. We have 280 different species of birds. That's actually a third of all of the bird species in Australia. You've got rock art, which has been carbon dated to 20,000 years old. Obviously, there's incredible fauna. The waterfalls and the walks are breathtaking. It's natural beauty that just leaves a footprint in your heart when you visit. It's think peace and quiet, vast landscapes. At night time when you turn the lights off, you can actually see the stars. It's really beautiful.
That is incredible. I love the idea of that, of being able to look up at the sky without any interruption from, the city lights and to get such an incredible view. That would be amazing. And 280 species of birds. Certainly, if you are a lover of wildlife, this is definitely the place to come. Crocodiles, birds, turtles, water buffalo even.
That's right. We have it all out here. We have it all.
That's really, really cool. The history is quite extensive as well. And certainly while you're in Kakadu National Park, there's absolutely no doubt that it's vastly important to hear from the Indigenous people and their culture. I'd love to hear a little bit more about those insights from you.
Sure. Well, I mean, Kakadu, when people visit, to keep in mind, it's dual listed on the UNESCO World Heritage List, and that's for its natural and cultural values. And there's actually not many places around the world that are dual listed. The local people out here are the Binning, and the Binning are the people from the north of the park, and the Mungai are the local Aboriginal people from the south of the park. We have 19 clan groups of families in Kakadu, and there are still around 12 different local languages spoken around the region of Kakadu and Arnhem Land. We touched on this rock art of 20,000 years old, and the park's like a living cultural landscape. It's the sites that people visit out here record the skills, record the way of life of Aboriginal people over tens of thousands of years. And people, particularly Australian people, can really connect with their heritage, with their culture when visiting somewhere as special as Kakadu. Kakadu has this beautiful escarpment and stone country that it's very famous for, and that has been backdated to over 2 billion years old. The rivers and the floodplains are beaming with life, and they're breathtaking. And for everyone who is listening, our local Aboriginal people, they celebrate 6 seasons in Kakadu, and they're defined by the skies, by rainfall, by plants and animals. So we have the monsoon season, that's December to March, and that in local language is Kujuk. And then we move into what we call the knock 'em down storm season, and that's in April. And that's we start celebrating the end of the rain, and that's called Bankarang. We then go into Yeki, which is the cooler season. That's May to June, and that's it's cool for people that live in the territory, but to a lot of people from our southern states, the weather is perfect. Then we're at working. That's they call it even colder weather, which is June to August, which is traditionally our peak season. And again, it's magical weather. We have an average of about 29 with very little humidity, absolutely stunning. We then move into Kurong, which is August to October, which is hot, dry weather. And then we have what is traditionally known as, in local languages, Kunamaleng, which is the pre-monsoon storm season. We call it the build-up in the territory. That's from October to December. And you will see some of the most spectacular thunder and lightning storms that you will ever see on the planet. It is amazing. And we all listen for the pitter-patter of rain in October because it's been so dry. The whole town comes out and just celebrates when we see the rain come again.
That sounds really fun. I love that you shared all those seasons actually just now, Chris. I really appreciate that, because I think from a travel perspective, we often think that the cooler months are the only time to come up to the territory. But I really think that you've highlighted beautifully the other seasons and why you should come and visit year round, actually, which is just incredible. Speaking of visiting, when we come out to Kakadu National Park on a lot of our tours, and in fact all of our tours, not a lot, you do stay out at Kakadu, and I think that that's really a good point to bring up, because it is 3 hours, as you mentioned, from Darwin. So to be able to see the sunsets and the sunrises out at Kakadu and stay at least one night, I think you'll agree is really, really the best way to do it.
It really is. And I mean, having someone being able to take you into all the sites, I mean, my personal opinion is always try and do more than one night. There's so much to see here. But having, a guide, on the bus to be able to take you around and share that local knowledge is really invaluable.
Yeah, I agree. Chris, this has been just a really lovely insight into Kakadu, and of course, what there is to see and do, to be able to hear from you about all of the, the history, the incredible history, and the languages that are still spoken by the Indigenous, the 12 different languages I think you mentioned in the Kakadu region. It's just been a real delight having you today. Thank you so much for your time. We really do appreciate it. And certainly for anybody that's looking to get up to the Northern Territory, hop on our website, inspiringvacations.com. You will see our entire page dedicated to the Northern Territory and all the details of everything that Chris has spoken about here today when we take you out to Kakadu National Park. Thank you, everybody. Have a tremendous day. Bye-bye.